Our guest today was in the very last episode of Victorious. It was called Victoria. Yes. Her resume is amazing. She's been on shows like iCarly, Good Luck Charlie, Glee, just to name a few. There's others that have come up during the podcast. Welcome, Hayley Holmes. Yay!
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. Hello.
Oh my goodness. Look at that smile. You got to watch this just to see that. Okay. Serious. Well, you appeared in the last episode of Victorious and you're a part of history. Tell us about when you booked that role. How did that go down?
Oh, it was really interesting. Because Krisha Bullock was the casting director for that show, and I'd read for that show quite a few times. I actually was up for one of the series regular roles for Trina and for some other part. So I went pretty
I could
far in
see
like
that.
the OG casting of it,
Yeah.
which I still have like the original sides because they were like just dummy sides that they sent
Yeah.
out. Or like it was so
Yeah.
fun. And then I got the audition and it was like a same day audition and it was like 9 pages of sides. And so I got it
Oh
at
my
10
God.
a.m. Yeah, 10 a.m. for like a 1 p.m. audition. I was like,
Right, right.
oh no,
Oh,
this
that's
does make sense.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I went and like memorized, and then just came in and like created that song that they had me sing and everything because that was just the voice that I felt like she was going to be a country singer. I don't know. Um, and then I didn't, they just cast right off of the tape. And I found out later that night that I got it. It was crazy.
So you came up with the country singer and
Angle. Yeah, I did.
my mouth was so open I couldn't say angle. That is huge. But that's where improv really helps in acting.
It does because it allows you to be spontaneous and not, you don't feel boxed like, oh, I have to do this and what's perfect. It just kind of came out of me, I think, because the exhilaration of like needing to get there and do the
Hmm.
audition so quickly. I was like, okay. And that's just where I went with it.
Yeah. I'm very impressed with you, young lady, because a lot
Thank
of people would have just been, oh, why didn't they get it to me sooner? That's not fair. No, you can never say that in acting.
No, 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 no. You just go. When the opportunity presents itself, you're like, all right, here we are.
Wow. That's crazy. So were
Mhm.
you a fan of Victorious before you booked the role?
Oh yeah, because my like dream was to go to a like performing arts school just in general. And so I thought the whole concept was so cool. And then I loved the cast and like how creatively they'd made it like flow out. Also, it's fun because on, I don't know, like if you're doing a drama or something, the sets are more like geared towards that. And you just go to your trailer and no one really like conglomerates as much. And then on that, they
Mhm.
have like games and stuff like that
I
to
remember
celebrate.
that. They
Yeah.
had the community room where all the games and things
Mm-hmm.
were, and catering was in that same area.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, and I love the way how organized it was, where they had wardrobe and makeup. They all had their spaces. So you
Yeah.
would go from space A to space B. You hang out in C if you weren't filming. I loved it.
It
I
was a
loved
good
it.
setup and it was cool because it looked like an old like theater or something
Hmm.
like the sound stage that they were on. It was very
Yeah.
smart.
We want to hear about your week on the set, if it was a week. Do you remember who did you meet first in the cast?
I actually met Ariana Grande first because she was there. And it was so interesting to me that she didn't sound like her cat character.
Oh no, that's all made up.
Yeah, it was like, oh, and so, and it kind of felt like being in a whirlwind just because I had watched the show and it was on for a bit. Um, and then I met Victoria Justice. I also met the girl who played Trina. Sikowitz, whom I loved. He's great, like the guy who played the teacher. And then I also met the guy who played Andre, obviously, because I was with him the most in the scene. And it was fun because they really had us play a lot because my character was so
Out
unique,
there.
unique out there,
Special.
special, someone that you might not want to say yes
I
to,
know.
challenging some
Yeah.
personal boundaries, like
Yeah.
just really going for it.
That's
Even like to
good.
my hair, I remember Dan Schneider was like so into the way my hair was supposed to be for the episode. And then
Right.
like hair and makeup did it once and he was like, no. And then they did like messy buns and he was like, no. And then he literally photoshopped a picture of like me with one side of pigtail and one side a messy bun, and was like, this is what I want.
And you had the guitar. Did you really play the guitar?
No. I mean, I did play it on the day, but I
Right,
do
right.
not really play guitar. My oldest brother's a guitarist, and so I knew, like, okay, you hold it like this, you kind of got to play around with this thing up top and hit the notes, but not, I wasn't like a skilled guitarist at all.
I really laughed when I saw your work, when I looked
Oh,
at the episode, and I thought it was hilarious. Did you get laughs when you did your run throughs and table read?
yes, yes, which was good because
Yeah,
that can be kind of a little stressful, something that they don't necessarily warn you about because you think, oh, auditioning is stressful, but in multicam television, it's different than any other type where you do
yes,
a couple days of rehearsals and then the producers and executives all show up, and if jokes aren't landing, they rewrite it and they take
they
it
do
out.
on
And
the
I've seen
spot.
on the spot, and I've seen people's parts get cut and everything just because it's not playing out. And so, I mean, I kind of liked that pressure,
Yeah,
because you want it to land and you want to do the writers justice and everything. But yes, thankfully I did. Um, I had an acting coach, Cynthia Bain, and she told me that, like, in comedy, don't ask for the laugh, just like ask for the butter. So ask for the like honesty of the scene, and then it'll play out the way it should.
I like butter. That's awesome advice,
hmm hmm
because that table read is really kind of a test. It's first base,
It's
you
first
know.
base. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I there was another show that I worked on, Good Luck Charlie, actually, and the way I came in on day 3 because the girl who did the table read and the Tuesday like rehearsals, they ended up recasting or something. And then I came in at the end and I was like, oh wow, it's like stressful environment.
Yeah, you were the cleanup woman.
The
Is
cleanup.
it the cleanup woman?
Like bring her
Is who
in to
you
get
call? Yeah, they
it.
knew. They knew. Somebody said, "Who can we get?" And your name came up. I mean, how else did you end up there?
I don't know.
When you think back behind it and peel back the layers, that's how your work speaks for you.
You were so great on that show. That was the first role that I saw you in. I remember
Yes, the wheezing.
you and Hugo. That Hugo is such a jerk.
Hugo, get your butt in here. Yep.
What was that like working with him? I bet he was so nice in
Oh,
real life.
He was
he's so
mean.
nice in real life and like such a teddy bear. But yeah, he was so mean in the show,
Yeah.
especially to my character. So it was kind of fun to play this girl who like shrivels up and is so nervous. And the wheezing component of it was so fun to do.
Yeah, I bet. When you played that character, did you in your mind think of someone you knew that would shrivel up like that, or was that just your physicality, or how did you come up with that?
That's such a great question. I honestly felt like, oh, okay, you know how you can like lean into like a normal person's reaction when someone's yelling is to like, oh, cower slightly, and then just really doubling down on that. So I was like, she's gonna get so small and then so nervous she can't even speak, and then just like tried to embody that sensation, and that's kind of how I like came up with her.
That's some good work. I mean, it really is when you think about it.
Thank
Because
you.
what a lot of people don't realize is when you get the script, the words are there. And it
Mhm,
may be something about where you are on set or whether you're yelling or laughing or whatever, but the physicality falls on you.
mhm.
It's all you. So for you to come up with that, you know, that that turtle effect, it's
I feel like Posey was kind of an opposite situation where like you walked away from Andre in the hallway. There was a moment I was watching the scene. The way that you walked off was so unusual and funny. It was like you were. I'll have to pull the clip up in the edit. It was so
yeah,
good.
find that clip so when the
Step
podcast
in
shows we
my
can see
step.
it.
Cliff Livy. I fully jumped into her. Yeah, and she was the antithesis of like what Alice was in Good Luck Charlie, who was so nervous and like shrivelly
Mhm.
and not getting invited to anything.
And she liked her feet to be
Yeah,
smelled or
Oh
kissed.
god.
that whole thing.
Did you laugh? Were you ticklish with your foot when
Oh.
he
And then
I'm
when
like,
he smelled it, and then I made him drink the tomato juice.
in my mind, when I saw that scene, I was like, that's my grandson. I should have kicked the door in and just snatched that leg. Oh,
Like, what are you? Oh my God, that would
what
have
are
been
you doing to my
hilarious.
grandson? And to be like, oh, is that tomato juice?
It was actually V8 splash, so it actually tasted really good. It was like the sweet juice. It wasn't really tomato juice.
So
Well,
have you
that's
actually tried real tomato juice?
Me? Yes. And it's not my cup of tea.
she had to do her research,
I had to
Bennett.
do my research, and but honestly, when the lady came up with the prop of it, she was like, "Don't worry, it's not tomato juice. It's V8 splash, so it's going to taste really good." It's like, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's a class production right there.
Mhm.
If they had a dash in maybe a little champagne,
Would have been a different set.
I know. Kids can't do that,
Yeah, kids can't do that. They'd be like, what's happening here?
They say, why is she falling asleep? Why is she giggling crazy?
Posey plays with the banjo and falls down.
Now back to the last episode called Victoria. Yes. Technically it wasn't the last episode. It was just the last episode they filmed.
Right.
How do you feel about being part of the last episode that they aired?
It's really monumental. It
It
feels
is.
very unique and a special little opportunity. I'm thankful that it aired, and then equally slightly oh good, I got to go down in the history of Victorious as well. And sad for everyone that it didn't even continue on, because it was such a great show. But I know careers were blossoming in other directions too.
How was it working on iCarly? How was that?
That was great. It was the same casting director, Krisha, who's lovely.
Yeah.
And that was so fun, because it was my first thing on a real set in Los Angeles that wasn't I don't know, a minor project. It was a big thing. And iCarly was huge because it was such an interesting concept and had grown so much. And I was girl with leg overhead. All I did is hop on with the leg over my head.
Oh, there.
That's all I did. Yeah.
Oh, Bennett, you are amazing. Oh my God, that's amazing. That is hilarious. You have great balance.
Oh, thank you. It was honestly all the dance training that my parents were like, this is never going to serve you. You'll never use dance in your life. And I was like, there are opportunities for it everywhere.
Yeah, send her that clip so she can.
Yeah, I'm gonna send my mom that clip right away and be like, this is the claim to fame.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How many people could do that? Because you had to go by. It's not like you just did it and it was down.
I think it's important to recognize that, because that episode was called I Heart Art. They were making a big sculpture and you were part of it. And that is the perfect example of taking your moment. It might be 10 seconds, but you just walk past and there's just a girl who can walk across the screen with her leg in air like that. I mean, and I got to imagine that the casting directors are looking at your resume. Let's see, special skills. Okay, great.
Yeah.
There she goes.
Yeah. And we got to use her for something else, because who else could do that? And, seriously. And that's how Dan works. If he likes your work, you come back. He uses you again for something else. So, yeah, that's a testimony of a job well done.
Oh,
High kick.
you.
High kick. Okay. Well, your resume includes Grey's Anatomy, Criminal Minds, Good Luck Charlie, Hannah Montana, and other shows. I mean, that's a lot of memories. Is there anything you want to share about those past shows?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Grey's Anatomy was super fun because I played a 15-year-old who was delivering a baby. And I've not been pregnant. And so in the audition, I literally the part of the sides were the delivery of the said child. And when I came out of the callback, my face was so red, and someone was like, what happened? I was like, I was delivering a child. It was, I fully committed to it. And
yeah.
So that was really fun. And then I just finished this show called Better Call Saul.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a really cool opportunity to work on. And I loved that show so much. Well, like just the whole uniqueness of the family feeling that it was, and to be on this show for like so many seasons, so you get to really know everyone. But then they also let us like improvise and kind of like created the characters semi around us, which was cool.
Yeah, because you get a chance to contribute to moving the story forward
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
the way that you come. And you kind of answered the next question because you play a woman named Sherry who was like a filmmaker on that show.
Yes.
Bennett did his research. We know all
Oh, I
about
didn't
you.
just do my research. Let me tell you something, okay? Because I told you about I was a fan before this. Here's the thing. This podcast is really about nostalgia and going down memory lane. And you know, Better Call Saul is fairly recent. But, you know, like when you meet some actors and it's like, it's crazy because like they're in your living rooms. My dad and I just started watching Better Call Saul. We're literally mid season 3 right now. So how crazy that like I'm talking to Sherry from Better Call Saul. We're like and we're just like getting to the part. Well, I mean, I'm not going to spoil much if I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
some people have still yet to watch the show, but you're just like at peak Sherry where you guys are filming so many commercials. And Marilyn, I don't know if you've seen it, but like
I've seen Breaking Bad, and it's a spinoff from
Mhm.
Breaking Bad.
prequel.
Is that right?
It's a
I'm gonna
prequel.
start watching it now since you're in it. What's
Oh.
your dad's name, Bennett?
Craig.
Haley, why don't you give a hello to Craig as your character?
Hello, Craig. It's Sherry from Better Call Saul. Just sending you some light and love.
I love
Oh,
it.
he'll love that. Oh, thank you.
Hey,
You're
you got to
welcome.
respect the parents, man. We wouldn't be here without them.
No, you really do. And that show's so funny because we just got names actually in the training videos. We were forever like drama girl and camera guy, and that was part of the shtick. And it was fun because we got to go incognito and like help Bob with all his like I won't give away too much. We helped Bob Odenkirk quite a bit with his like little schemes, but I don't understand we're scheming ever. It's kind of fun. um
That's the whole concept of that show, though. I
mhm.
do know something about it. He's a lawyer, right?
He's
And
a lawyer.
yeah, so it's Bennett's dad or your mom or both.
Apparently when you stop practicing you're still a lawyer, which I don't get that, but my
Oh,
mom,
you are.
she's a
You
financial
are.
advisor now, but she's like, I'm always a lawyer anyway, so whatever.
Once you pass the bar, you're always a lawyer, you know.
That's so fun. My dad's a lawyer also.
Oh wow,
Wow.
that's cool.
And my dad needed a lawyer. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he's got a couple options now.
Yeah, now you can make some phone calls.
Just kidding.
Better Call Saul.
Okay, Dad. Okay. Well, he's long gone, but I don't want some family. Oh, okay. You know, I'm
What's your
just kidding.
name?
I
Yeah.
know. I'm always joking.
Haley, can I just say, and I almost called you Sherry, so that's my bad because I was thinking
that's-
about Better Call Saul.
That's good because that's
Yeah.
a testimony of her work.
There's a scene, and I feel like it was a big moment for you, Marilyn. There's these 3 filmmakers that help Saul film commercials to try to get business booming and really build himself up. And he was broke at one point, and they're leaving this set where these guys who are working at a store, they're like, we're going to film a commercial, but they're like, never mind, we don't want to pay for it. So Bob Odenkirk's sitting there, Saul is sitting there, and he's like, man, I don't have any money. And then as the filmmakers are walking away, Sherry turns back, walks up to Saul, and offers to give him money. It was with
Aw.
such sincerity, and you could really see, you know, we, like you said, the characters didn't have a name yet, but that's when, you know, somebody without a name starts to really develop as a character and you start to really get to know them. And it was just, you showed so much heart in that scene.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you. Thank you.
that's awesome.
I like loved that scene. I had just had wrist surgery. So like
Uh-huh.
when we flew to like New Mexico, I was just healing from that. And then to see that writing of like, oh, and then she's so, you know, deeply empathic as to what Saul's going through. And and I love that moment because I felt like, oh, that's something I would want to genuinely do as myself, even if someone was in
Yeah.
like that for sure.
And the funny thing about going through some life experience that kind of is difficult is when you go into your acting and you have to draw something, you have that as a well to dip into, you
Yeah.
know.
Thank you.
It makes it more authentic, you know. Um I booked a role where I had the worst toothache ever. And it was on a show called Decker, and I was playing the mom of someone that died in a VA hospital, and they wanted me to be just to show the pain in my eyes and how hurt I was that my son had died. That toothache was killing me. And the guy stood right in front of me with a camera in my face and said, go. And I just zoned into the pain and did the lines. And he booked me right then and there because he said, I don't know how you did it. I didn't tell him it was a toothache.
Yeah, you got to take what, nature
You
kind of gives
use
you
it.
sometimes too.
Exactly. You turn it into a positive.
Hmm.
So, and it, that's what makes acting so much fun. And you draw on things and you take their words and you put your physicality with it and your talent and you mash it together and you get that vision that they have. And you're very good at it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Likewise to you as well.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
of course, your work's great. And then, and equally, I think that's why the arts is so wonderful, is because it is a whole collaborative event and everything that you get to do. It's really great.
Wow. Well, speaking of the arts, you have directed two of your own short films. Tell us
Mhm.
about those.
Oh yeah. So my friend and I, but we did both of them together. One was Summer, which was our first like dipping our toes into our own directing and producing. And it was, she's a great writer, so she wrote the whole thing. And then
What's her name?
her name's Bryn Chambly.
Okay. Shout
And
out to you.
shout out to Bren, she's the best. And we really needed to learn. So our first project was a big learning curve. We learned how valuable lighting is, because
Oh, yeah.
like, lights aren't that important. It'll look great on camera. No, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't skip on lights. And so then the second project, we actually shot it in Atlanta. And it was really cool. We rented out a whole little musical theater school, and we did it based off of a children's musical theater school in Los Angeles that
Wow.
kind of has like a lot of celebrities involved in it and like their kids, and then equally just regular kids off the street. And so we wanted to make it something like The Office meets Glee, where there's like confessionals of the directors and
I
stuff.
love The Office and
Yeah,
Glee. So
yeah,
I see what you were putting together. That's a
yes.
unique vision. How did you come up with that?
I came up with it. We simultaneously came up with it together because I was taking some writing classes at SMC. Um,
Mhm.
and they were like, fortune favors the bold. So if you just go and try. And so I like said my proof of concept to the class, and they all thought it was a really great idea. And so then I gave it to Bren, and she wrote the script, and it did really well in like all the festivals and everything, and was getting a lot of traction. And then COVID happened. So it
Oh,
kind of,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
little, buzzkill.
Yeah. It stopped a lot of things. But you
Yeah,
did have the experience. You were able to get it off the ground. It got past being on paper. You know
it
what
did
I
get
mean?
past being on paper. Yeah, and we got it funded and everything, which is, it's such a hard, like there's so many hoops
Wow.
you have to jump through to get those things actually into fruition.
Bennett is a writer and he has a whole lot of ideas. You two
Oh,
should talk
Bennett.
about, the steps and all that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
I would love
Yeah.
to. Please, please, please. Yeah.
Oh,
And that's awesome. I wish I had the skill of writing. I like to have ideas, but I think it's such a gift. So good for you, Bennett, that you can like
Yeah.
assemble those ideas into an actual story.
It makes a
Yeah,
difference.
100%. I think when you're having fun with anything, and I feel like that's what makes a project work also, is when everyone on the set, they actually enjoy it and they're putting their energy in a way that like feels fruitful. And then it's important to have fun.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you have to be bold and you can't be afraid.
No,
Speaking of which, any advice for anyone producing, directing, writing, or working behind the scenes? Anything you want to pass on to them?
I would say to go for it. Even though our first project was a train wreck in every single sense of the way, like it does not even visually look good, you can't hear the people. We went for it and we learned so much. So then, like, bursting out of your comfort zone, and that people want to help. Everyone wants to get like a little credit. Like even in Atlanta, we were giving, IMDb credits or like intern scholarship, like not scholarships, but if you were in an internship, you could come and like get set experience or do something along those lines. and everyone was so excited to help, even for the experience of being on a working set. And so tapping into those avenues as well. And there will be train wrecks, and you will make it through them.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You just have to keep moving forward.
You have to keep moving forward. Yes. Even no matter what happens, like our director who was supposed to direct that short, she's okay, but she was at Sundance and had a brain aneurysm. 3 days before we were going to start production. And so obviously sure, her health is the most important.
Absolutely.
And she was okay, and she's survived and alive and doing great now. But there were so many wheels already turning, because we had people flying in from Los Angeles and all of that we couldn't stop the train. So then we had to find a new director, which we actually just ended up self-directing, she and I, my Bren and I. And so even though, we had the crazy event right before, it was stressful because we wanted to make sure Laurel was like, okay, we were still able to like continue forward with the project, and it works.
That's awesome. In my church, we would call that the breakthrough in the middle of the going through.
Oh, that's cool. I love that.
The breakthrough in the middle of the going through. Because if you just keep going and you have a breakthrough, and look, you ended up with experience as a director, you learn how to keep moving when the unexpected happens. It just, you have to be like a boxer. A professional boxing round is 12 rounds, and you can't judge your performance on the first round unless you get knocked out.
Right. Then you judge it.
Yeah, then you're done.
Then you're done. And that first round was integral.
I know. It's like, I better find something else to do. But that's great that you guys pushed on through, and I'm very happy that the young lady with the brain aneurysm is okay. That's scary on top of everything else. You still have to do this, but you're worried, and
you care for the person, and you want to make sure they're okay as well. Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Any advice for actors?
I would say my best advice is that find your way through every roadblock. Because when I first came to Los Angeles, there were a lot of no's. No one for representation. Oh, you're blinking too much, or oh, you're this, or oh, that. There were a lot of like wanting to pigeonhole. But I think if you truly like want something, and you truly just continue to like break down those no's and like burst through it can work, and it will work. And then there's so much triumph on the other side. Even though it's a hard road, just continue to like plow through. And as long as you're getting joy from it, it's the right journey for you. So
yeah. And some people are mean. They could tell you no, but they don't have to tell you in the way that they tell you.
Like Hugo would, if Hugo were a casting director.
Hugo would be a terrible casting director. Hugo, no.
Well, I'm glad you didn't listen to any of those no's, because look where you are now.
And thank you. And I would also say character actors, as I know you're well aware of, it's such a fun niche to have. So there's a space in the industry for everyone. And
That is cool. Well, do you have any social media that you would like to share?
I do. My Instagram is at Hayley, HAYLEYS Holmes, because Hayley Holmes was taken. Somebody else is that. So, but my middle name's Suzanne, so that's the S.
That's my mom's first name. No way.
What?
Yeah.
Bennett. We have
much
in common.
Yeah. It's cosmic. I love it.
Wait, how does she spell it?
I spell it SUZANNE.
Same. What the heck?
Make sure you tell your mom.
Yeah, I will.
Hi, Suzanne, by the way. Hi, Suzanne.
Yeah.
She's so
Suzanne.
nice.
Hi to your Suzanne.
Yeah.
Hi, Suzanne 1 and hi, Suzanne 2. You guys decide which is which. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Much,
this has
Hayley.
been so lovely. You guys are awesome.
Oh.
So are you.
Thank you, and much success, and all that you're, and Bennett, good success with your writing, and great success with your podcast and everything.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe, like, follow, comment, at Victoriously Crazy Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And make sure you comment. We really like your comments. So, Hayley, are you ready for Andre's Grandma Acts Out?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, since Percy isn't here, do you want to say,
Roll and then scene.
yeah, roll and
Okay.
scene?
Roll.
Posey,
Yeah.
I saw what you did. You stuck your foot in my grandson's face.
I just needed him to try it. He needed to just make sure that my foot was good.
I'm gonna hit you with this tambourine, but first I'm gonna hit your foot with it.
No,
Let me
no,
have it.
my precious foot is my best possession of life.
Give me that foot. Give me that foot. Give me that foot.
I got tomato juice.
I like it. Is there a lemon in it?
Always lemon.
Okay, I'll put down the tambourine. But let me tell you something, Posey. That's my Andre. And don't you do that again, girl.
Okay. Maybe we'll just go to the movies next time.
Yeah. Let's go see a Viola Davis movie.
Okay, you can come. You can sit in the middle.
I don't want to come. I gotta make me some spaghetti. You got any tomato juice?
Yeah, I put tomato juice in all my spaghettis. It's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, I like you.
I knew you would.
Scene.